All right. I think Tim from my team is watching. Can you just drop in the chat, Tim, if this appears to be streaming live on Facebook? I want to make sure before I get too far into things here. I thought I did. I thought I just did. Jason, are you watching on Facebook or are you watching through the Zoom? Jason's on my team too. Somebody let me, okay. Tim or somebody, let me know if the Facebook stream is working. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and start. Okay, so welcome everybody. I'm excited. We have a very special guest. Okay, they're recording it. For some reason, it's not. Okay, I hit well, it says stop live stream, Tim. Okay, it is now live. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to our Facebook Live. Technology. Gotta love it, gotta hate it. We do both. So we are very excited to have a special guest with us this evening who has extended an offer very kindly to all of the US Senate candidates if we want to do some kind of live event or an event to help discuss voting by mail to help get that word out. So we have Polk County Auditor Jamie Fitzgerald with us tonight. For those of you who may not know who Jamie is and what he does, take it away, Jamie.
Well, thank you very much, Kimberly. My name is Jamie Fitzgerald, and I've been Polk County Auditor since 2007. And some of the job duties I do in the office is I make sure that you only pay your fair share in taxes. So we have a GIS department along with the tax department that makes sure you only pay for you're not paying your neighbor 6 feet. We also pay all the county's bills. So that's a big thing. We staff all of the board meetings. So if there's 3 board members, me or one of my staff will be there. And then finally, the one thing that everybody talks about I do is elections. But we've done some great things in our office. You can actually go, if you're a Polk County resident, every person that's ever owned your property, you can actually do a search for that. We have all the historical minutes from the 1840s on. So we've done a lot of things to bring government to you. So we're hoping that with this chat, we'll bring voting to you. We are obviously in the midst of a pandemic. We don't know if it's going to change from day to day, if it's getting worse, getting better. It kind of depends on who you ask. But nonetheless, we have to prepare for an election. We're 41 days away. In fact, tomorrow is the first day we're mailing ballots. So it's 40 days out, we'll be able to mail ballots. You can't vote in the office till 29 days. But we're having to reduce polling sites due to the CDC guidelines. If you look at other states, if you watch how Florida and Illinois had theirs, where Florida had hundreds of poll workers quit the night before, Illinois had everyone packed into one location. And then most recently in Wisconsin, where you had 600,000, a population of 600,000 people in Milwaukee, going to 5 spots. We're part of a national coalition, so we've talked to these individuals, the best case scenario, worst case scenario. We've worked with the Secretary of State's office and all 98 other county auditors. And we all think the best opportunity and the best option is for voters to vote at home. There's 0 chance we're going to be able to staff all of our polling sites, so we had to reduce them to 28. And that's a significant reduction, but we have to make sure we protect our vulnerable citizens. That's both voters and my poll workers.
So Jamie, how many polling sites? So this is in Polk County, right? Or over?
No,
how many polling sites do we usually have in Polk County?
We have 177 precincts, about 150 locations. A lot of them have been historically at senior living facilities like Wesley Acres, Calvin Community, and a lot of churches where, if you saw what happened in Florida, a lot of the churches the night before said, we're not going to do this. So you're scrambling. We wanted to make sure that as Iowans, we gave everyone the information they needed, and we were able to contact and move to different locations. So we're in a lot of schools. We've talked to the other 99 county auditors. Everyone's reducing their polling sites to try to keep the people so they can socially distance. But the real key is for people to vote early. The Secretary of State is sending every voter. Now, historically, primaries are Democrat, Republican. Everyone can participate. but you have to declare a party. So all 2.1 million voters in Iowa are getting an absentee ballot request from the Secretary of State. They're going to have a instruction panel on how to fill it out. So you're going to need your name, your address, your ID number. Your ID number is one of two things. It's your driver's license number if you have an Iowa driver's license, or it's the PIN number assigned to you. Both can be easily figured out. If you have problems, call your local county auditor. But then you have to put down your address. And you might, maybe you're displaced and you want the ballot mailed to your parents' house if you're in college. Or you're a snowbird and you want it mailed to your house in Arizona. You're stuck there. You can fill that part out too. Then you have to pick a party. So all 2.1 million voters are equivalent of free agents. Just because you're a Republican on paper, you could just say, I want to vote in this primary, in the Democratic primary, and select the primary, the Democratic ballot. But you have to pick one of two. And we've watched other counties already do their mailers. Lynn County's been very successful. They have over 10,000 requests being mailed tomorrow. They have half the population, half the voting population Polk County has, and we have 1,500 being mailed. So we have some catching up to do. We think people are excited about the races. We think people are excited to vote from home. Everyone wants to flatten this curve, and everyone wants to maintain, not get each other sick. So we are taking precautions to make sure our polling sites are meeting all the CDC and ADA guidelines, but we really are strongly encouraging people to vote by mail. It's so easy. You're going to get this mailer on Monday. The Secretary of State's going to, all you have to do is fill it out, put it back in your mailbox, postage paid. You don't have to find a stamp. They'll come to your local county auditor. They'll send you a ballot. It's about a 2-day turnaround time for the mail. And then you can put it back in the mailbox. And the Secretary of State's office has a great thing with the tracker. You can actually see where your absentee ballot is in the process. When you request it, when we receive it, when we mail it, when you mail it back. You can track all of that on their website. So we encourage everyone to vote from the comfort of their home. You know, give these candidates a chance. Kick the tires on all of them. A lot of times people go to the polling site, they maybe know one or two people, but spend some time on websites, spend some time on Facebook, and see who these candidates are. This is a great opportunity for all Iowans. Voting by mail is not a new thing. Historically, about 40% of our population vote early in general elections, about 20% in primaries, but there are a number of states in the West. Oregon's the first one. Utah is the last one that do all mail ballots. This isn't all mail ballots. This is you have to fill out a request. So there's one hurdle you have to jump through. But Iowa law also has you to dictate you have to declare a party. So it makes it sending everybody a ballot for the primary a little more difficult.
Cool. What if, so I'm just kind of, I thought of some questions that people might have just for different scenarios. Like, what if somebody's never voted before? What do they need to do? Because they're not going to get an absentee ballot request form in the mail because they're not currently a registered voter. So what should they do?
So what they should do is go to their local county auditor's office site. We're getting a new website May 1st. It's going to be polkelectionia.gov. It takes a little longer to get the .gov, but you can go to our website, download our site. If you're a Polk County resident, it has the address right there. So you have to send it to your county auditor that you're assigned to in your county. But if you go to the Secretary of State's website, they actually have you can register to vote right there, and you can request a ballot. You can do this in the same envelope. So say you just moved to town, you're not going to get this mailer. You could, and you don't have an Iowa driver's license, you can simply download both forms, print them out, and send them to your county auditor, and you can do 2 birds with 1 stone in the mailer.
So what if somebody doesn't have a printer at home? Are they going to just have to wear a mask and gloves and walk into an auditor's office, or is there any way around that?
That's a great question. We send requests to every voter that wants one. So if you call whether you have a printer or not, we have been letting voters know they're going to have a mailer coming on Monday. So a lot of them are just waiting till Monday to get this. Okay. But we have been sending out absentee ballot requests for 20 years to people that don't have printers. So we want to make sure that everyone that wants to participate participates.
And what if somebody is not yet registered to vote and doesn't have a printer? Is the only way they're going to be able to register then to physically go into an office?
You can come into your local county auditor's office. A lot of them are closed to the public, but our office is actually closed to the public right now, but we have a vestibule and you can come in. We have all the forms you need. We have a drop-off box. You if you're dropping stuff off, and we're right there. So if you have a question, we see you, and we'll come to make sure you're being taken care of. And we assume that all 98 other county auditors are doing the same. A lot of campaigns are bringing forms to voters, whether it's absentee ballot request forms or voter registration forms. If you don't have a printer, you don't have an Iowa driver's license, just call your local county auditor. They'd be happy to help you.
Yep. What if somebody thinks they're registered to vote, but they're not sure? Maybe they didn't vote in the last election or something. Where can they go to confirm that they're A, registered, and B, registered at the address they're currently living at, so that they know that they should be getting one of those absentee ballot request forms in the mail?
Sure. The Secretary of State's office has a great website for that to see if you're registered to vote. The one thing you want to make sure is somebody like me, I go by Jamie. That's not my given name. So you might have to do a couple variations of your name to make sure they can find you. The one thing this isn't going to tell you is what party you're registered with. But like I said, all you can do, you can make an address change if you're registered already in the county, and you can change party on the absentee ballot request form simply by clicking the box.
So that's great. So in the last year or two, as we all know, as well, some of us know, and I know Jamie, there's been some changes in regards to having to show an ID in Iowa when you vote. Can you now, most of us, and I just want to say, please don't vote on June 2nd. I know, a candidate telling you not to vote. I'm not saying don't vote. I'm saying please do not vote on June 2nd. There's going to be reduced polling places. We don't want anybody standing in a line. We don't want poll workers to get sick. We don't want voters to get sick. Please, starting in just a couple days, you can have already voted by the end of next week or so. So get it done, get it out of the way, get it done early. And of course, vote for me for US Senate, but or your candidate of your choice. But people may wonder, well, how is that going to work if I have to show ID, but I'm voting by mail? I can't show anybody my ID. How does that all work? So how does that sort of, you have to show your ID now in Iowa, that requirement in relation to now voting by mail?
Sure. So if you're voting early, whether it's at your local county auditor's office or by mail, you don't have to provide an ID. You can write down your driver's license number or your PIN number, and that suffices. At the polling site, there is going to be a handoff on the ID. So we're getting our poll workers, we're equipping them with gloves, masks, face shields. We're buying extra pens so voters can just take the pen with them if they don't bring their own. So we're trying to be as careful as we possibly can. But we also want voters to know it's going to be safe to vote in our locations, because even though there's 28 of them, these are going to be in high school gymnasiums and high school commons where the kids eat. So they're going to be spaced out. A lot of times you go to a polling site, there's a 6-foot table and 8 people are cobbled around it. We're not going to have it that way. And we're really working hard to make sure that our poll workers are both going to be trained well with the system, and they're going to be as safe as possible. Right now, it's a little tough to get a lot of the equipment. We're having good luck with it so far. There's a lot of vendors out there, whether it's the ethanol plants or the breweries. They're providing us with a lot of hand sanitizer. But we want to make sure that everyone votes from home. This is the easiest way. Like I said, you can go through this ballot and go through every name. If you go to our website, we have all the Polk County candidates and their email addresses if they provided them to us. So if you have a question for one of the candidates, simply go to their email them directly, or go to their website. So we want the most educated public voting, but we want to make sure that everyone votes safely and securely. And the easiest way is to stay and vote in the comfort of your own home.
Yeah. And I would just second that anybody who's asked me a question, whether they've sent me a Facebook message since I announced I was running last May up until now, whether they have found our email on our website and emailed, my staff know not to answer questions from Iowans. Those all come to me. So if you contact my campaign, I just want to let you know, I will answer your question. I feel like the job of a US Senator is to listen. And if I'm not answering your questions and I don't know what your concerns are, then I have no way of, in my opinion, of purporting that I want to do this job. If you're not able to reach me, while I'm campaigning, then I don't know that you're going to be able to reach me when I'm a US Senator. And that's not the kind of US Senator I plan to be. I plan to be one that you can still reach. I understand I'll be busy, but I will never be too busy to listen to the people that I represent, because that's the job. So you can always reach me if you have any questions. There was one other question, and now I'm trying to, so if somebody's out there saying, I don't know, what if somebody tampers with my ballot? I don't think I want to do this. Like if they have concerns about the security of voting by mail, what would you say to them?
Well, we have an excellent process where we actually have cameras and key coded doors. So we know exactly who's been in and out of our building. Only certain employees can get upstairs with the ballots, and we scan them all in. We have a bipartisan group actually open the ballots on election day. So this isn't, nefarious at all. We have Democrats and Republicans. If somebody wants to do that, contact our office. We're going to have less people this year, obviously, because of social distancing. Yep. But we want to make sure that people are comfortable with the process. We've been doing this in Polk County a very long time. We've had Fox News in. We've invited the party chairs. We invite candidates just so they're comfortable with it. They might not like the results, but we want to make sure they know it's safe and secure. And, like I said, we work with all 98 county auditors, and everyone is in agreement that this is the easiest, most secure and safest way to vote. I get some people are going to want to go to the polling site, and we're going to make them safe.
Sure.
We're going to make them secure.
I know. I happen to have a friend who's a nurse in Wisconsin. Wisconsin. In one of the places where basically they had very limited polling sites, and there was long lines and long lines. And sure enough, about a week after that, spike in emergency room admissions. So all that to say, I have every confidence that Jamie and his team are going to do absolutely everything they can to keep people safe. If you feel you must show up on June 2nd at a polling place, please don't. Jamie can't prevent you from touching something that someone happened to sneeze on and then touching your eye, right? He can do everything, but he can't provide for every eventuality. And so, it's by far safest to vote from home. And Jamie Fitzgerald and all the other people at the Polk County Auditor's Office, shout out Ruth, are are gonna do everything they can to make that as safe as humanly possible. And it'll still be safer, safer to vote at home, because then you're controlling your whole environment yourself, and you're not leaving any of that up to chance.
Well, and polling sites have changed in every county. Some counties have one polling site. In a big area, you're going to come to the county courthouse. For us, we use metrics based on who turns out historically, where the primaries are at, where the hot spots are at. And we did our election set up that way. No one's going to have to drive far. Like if you live in West Des Moines, everyone that lives in the Polk County side of West Des Moines will vote at Valley High School, which seems like a lot of people, but primaries are candidate driven. So it takes a lot to get people to go to the polls because everybody's worried about running, the presidential campaign, that you can't request that ballot till July 6th.
Right.
We have to get through the primary first. So the primary is picking your party's candidates to face off with the other party's candidates and no party candidates in November. So we've worked with the schools, we've worked with community centers. We're going to be in 3 Polk County senior centers. These are meal sites that are going to be closed that day. And then we're going to go ahead and clean them up when we leave. So we're going to fumigate, do that kind of stuff. And a lot of this is coming through the CARES Act. The state got $4 million. The mailer the Secretary of State sending out to every voter, that's coming through that, along with the hand sanitizer they're providing us. And they're providing us with a lot of guidance and a lot of other equipment. So they've made it a lot easier at the federal level. I didn't see who voted for what or what was proposed. We're just happy to get something. And we're, cautiously optimistic that we're going to have a great election. We think it's going to be a bigger turnout than people think. Historically, primaries are about 10% in presidential primaries because, you got to remember, we just came off a very contested caucus. So that was only a couple months ago. It feels like an eternity.
It does.
And so a lot of people feel like they've already participated, but there are a lot of good candidates out there running for office. Just because you don't have an opponent, say somebody like running for state house, you don't have an opponent, their name's still going to be on the ballot. And it's easier to keep voting and get that voting history so the candidates will come and talk to you. No matter which party you are, everyone looks at your voting history to see if they voted. How often do you vote? And that's a way to really engage with your local officials by keeping voting, and they'll keep reaching out to you as well.
Yep. Sounds good. And lastly, on our website, which is kimberlyforiowa.com, we have set up kind of a step-by-step, like you go to one screen and we say, I forget the first question, but probably like, are you a resident of Iowa? Yes or no? And then you click on that and we'll take you to the next screen. So we have set up a thing on our website, kimberlyforiowa.com, where it will walk you through like step by step and then, dump you out either, if you're not registered, it'll dump you out at the Secretary of State's website so that you can then take care of what you need to there, or it will give you the application for the absentee ballot request if you wanted to do that, whatever you need to do. And those are kind of for the eventuality if you did not get an absentee ballot request form in the mail for whatever reason, because I'm sure, people move often in our society. And so if you don't get one in the mail within, what would you say, Jamie, like give it till when? And if you don't have one, then go ahead and make the request for one.
I would say Wednesday.
Okay.
We're going to announce on our Twitter page, Polk Auditor Fitz, and our Polk County Election Office when the first one's hit in Polk County. And we're going to tomorrow put out what the sample mailer is going to look like. I think the Secretary of State's office has already done it, but we want people to be on the lookout for this mailer because it's very important because you don't have to find a stamp. A lot of younger people and people my age don't have stamps already. And, going to the post office, going anywhere,
Don't want to do that now. Yeah.
Trouble area. So we want people to watch for this mailer. And if you're registered, you're going to get this mailer. If you're not, call your local county auditor. They'd be happy to send you the forms and happy to get you registered to vote and get you an absentee ballot.
Awesome. So if you don't get your absentee ballot request form in the mail by middle to end of next week, then go ahead and contact your Polk County, or your Polk County, if you're in Polk County Auditor or whatever county you're in, Auditor, and request one, and then they will send one to you. We have one last question, and that is that poster behind your head that says, tell us about that.
That is my father, who ran for governor in 1978.
Oh my
And he ran
gosh.
again in 82, and he ran for Congress in 84. And today is actually his birthday.
Oh, wow. Well,
This
happy
is
birthday to
his
your
mailer
dad.
from 1978. It was one of the posters somebody gave me. In fact, it was Gary Schmidt from Ankeny, Iowa. He brought in a bunch. I have some pins and stuff from memorabilia. So it's pretty neat. The black and white, the one color, you couldn't run a campaign like that right now, but it's a nice remembrance of why you're in public service. You want to help people. I know you're an attorney that helps a lot of folks. I have a daughter that's a social worker. Another one's going to be a respiratory therapist.
Wow.
So we're in the helping people business. So anyone that has a question, frankly, I don't mind if you're in a different county. You can contact me. I am happy to help. We have voters from all over the state and other states actually contact us for information, and we're all happy to help.
Yeah. You guys, I just can't say truly, this is, Jamie isn't paying me to say this. No, he isn't. But seriously, I've been a poll watcher, like a volunteer poll watcher in Polk County for elections before. For those who don't know what that is, they usually, not Polk County, but voter watch groups or whatever will recruit attorneys to serve as poll watchers just to make sure that everything goes, the way it should. And that if there's any challenges to somebody voting, that there's somebody there that can then contact a hotline and so on. Anyway, so I have literally sat at polling places all day long on election day in Polk County, and they do a phenomenal job. And I can just tell you that if you happen to live not in Polk County, but you do have a question, please go ahead. If for whatever reason you can't reach your own auditor, or they're not very helpful, contact Jamie's office in Polk County, and I'm sure they would be more than happy to help you. So you guys do a phenomenal job. There's a reason why you've been our auditor for so long, Jamie, because you keep doing a great job.
Seems like yesterday. But the one thing that's constant is change.
That's right.
Election law has changed quite a bit. So we're spending a lot of our time making sure people know, please vote from home, and your polling sites changed. It's not going to be where you voted probably for the last 30 years. There's no way we're going to be in senior living facilities, and there's very limited chances. We're actually in one church now, where historically we've probably been in 100. So we worked with the schools, we worked with community centers, local city council, school board members have been great for us. But no matter which county you're in, if you're not going to vote early, please make sure you know where you're going to go vote. We're going to send a household mailer out to every household in Polk County, letting people know where your temporary polling site is. We're hoping not to go through this in November, but I will tell you, if we go through this in November, there's going to be a lot more than 28 polling sites. So we'll need everyone's help, all hands on deck on getting poll workers.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much, Auditor Jamie Fitzgerald from here in Polk County. And we really, his office, our campaign, I know all of the U.S. Senate campaigns and all of people running for office would really prefer that you vote by mail. It's easy. You're going to get the ballot request form, postage paid. You won't even have to find a stamp to send in your ballot request. Then you'll get the ballot in the mail. I'm guessing they might need to put a stamp on the ballot. No, or is that already postage paid?
No, it comes back postage paid.
Wow.
So there's really no
excuse.
No process here to vote early from home. Used to be either a campaign staffer would come by your house and grab it. You'd drop it off at our office or put a stamp on it. But this time you don't need to put a stamp on, just fill out. And the Secretary of State's office has highlighted everything you need to fill out. So everything that needs to be filled out is highlighted, which makes it really easy for people. But the one thing we want to make sure people know is you have to pick a party. This is a party primary.
Yep.
So it's not an open primary. So you're going to have to pick a party and you have to sign and date it. So those are usually the things that in a primary election.
Yeah, those are, yeah. So if you don't sign and date your ballot request form, and then you don't, I guess, sign, date, and pick a party for your ballot.
For your request form.
Then you're going to have a problem. So basically just look at all the highlighted areas and make sure, just look it over and make sure any place that's highlighted, you have filled out something. If you leave a part blank, this is going to run off the rails.
We'll contact you, but a lot of people don't have email addresses. We only have 12,000 email addresses out of our 314,000 registered voters. And we have very few working phone numbers that a lot of people have put stuff on years and years ago, never taken it off. So we're going to have to mail you some information. But the last day to request a ballot, so we're mailing ballots tomorrow. The last day to physically request a ballot be mailed to you is you're requesting to be into your county auditor's office by 5 p.m. May 22nd. And all this is on our website. Like I said, we're getting a new website May 1st. It's going to be polkelectionia.gov. But for now, go to our website, Google Polk County Election Office. Make sure you go to the Iowa one, and we have everything you need: sample ballots, publication, where you vote, a map of where you vote, and contacts for the candidates. So we're pretty proud of our site, but we want to make sure people get the right information.
Awesome. So thank you so much for being with us today, Jamie Fitzgerald, Polk County Auditor. And if anyone has questions, contact his office. You can also walk through the process on our website, kimberlyforiowa.com. And I think that's it.
Thank you very much for the opportunity and your time.
Oh, thank you so much, Jamie. Take care. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.